Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Jazz Up Your Widgets, everything on design in BookWidgets. My name is Kate Baker. I am the head of community engagement here at BookWidgets. I am a longtime veteran educator. I've been in education for over 25 years as a high school ELA teacher, as an ed tech integration specialist, an adjunct professor. I'm just really excited to have you all with me today. So, for those of you that may be new, what is BookWidgets? BookWidgets is a content creation and student learning evaluation platform that teachers use to support their students' learning process from beginning to end. There are no student accounts. Students don't log in. It's always the teacher who is using our widget and question templates to design and build those professional and interactive lessons that they can then share via link or through LMS integration so that you're keeping your students in a trusted learning environment where you can monitor student progress live and provide feedback and have a reporting dashboard with insightful statistics so that you can spend less time on grading and more time on personalized student feedback. So you can always reach out to us if you're interested in group and school licenses. And we are certainly proud holders of the ISTE Seal of Alignment. So on the agenda for today's session, we're going to take a look at options to adjust the design of your widgets and share lots of good practices, tips, and tricks for designing those widget activities. So starting off with options, we're going to take a look at the preview. So when you preview any widget activity, how you can customize the design. We'll talk about working with templates, adding and editing images, and switching to rich text format. So using those design options via preview. The preview is so powerful. Like, not only are you able to check your settings for your widget activities, but you can use this as an opportunity to enhance your design. Now, for those of you that are on a trial account, you're only going to have basic options. And also group licenses may have limited options as well. You'll be able to change color. You'll have limited font options, and you can always add a background image to your widgets. And then for those of you that have school or publisher licenses, you have access to so many different, so many options to customize your widgets. Now, the options, though, will only appear if they apply to your widget. So if you're working with, let's say, the games, like a pair matching game, you're not going to see options to customize, let's say, questions from a worksheet widget. So you want to be really strategic in how you customize the design for your widget. So I'm gonna show you what this all looks like so that you can take a look. And the best thing I can tell you to do to play with this is that you want to take a widget and you can duplicate it. And even if you find a widget that you like the styling of, duplicate it so you can see how it is configured. So we have the this widget here, which I think you'll find really useful because this widget is all question type. So when you're thinking about design of your worksheet or quizzes, I recommend duplicating, making a copy of this particular one because we have every single question type in a worksheet widget. So when you copy this to your account, you can then customize the design in one place for all of your quiz or worksheet or video quiz questions, because then you can import that design very easily. So I've already generated a copy in my account. Let me bring it over in the editor view. So we have the editor view, and you'll notice there's been a little bit of updates because we now have a new feature within the quiz and worksheet, and that is the structured quiz. So now you can determine if you want to have all questions on one page like a worksheet, If you want to have multiple questions per page, um, or if you want to just have a single question page. So I'm going to show you some different examples, but before we get ahead of ourselves here, I'm going to go into preview, and then this is where I'm going to see those design options. And when I'm in preview, I got to come up to design in the top corner, hit design, and then now I see in the side panel the options that are available to me. So this is a trial account. This is what I want to show you for those of you who are brand new. I can change the template to be light or dark. So I could make it a dark background if I so choose. And then I can also do some drop downs with the font. I can change the overall font. I can't go and change fonts like for the question or typefaces, really. For the question and answer choices, I have to do kind of a blanket here. Okay. So, but I can pick from the choices that are available. I can change my colors. So we have some colors that have already been loaded in. So if you don't like purple, you could pick blue. And then if you also want to do, you could do a background image. So when you hit background, you can, this is a new update, choose from a recent image you might have used. You can find an image online, upload an image, import from your Google Drive, or paste from clipboard. So I'm going to show you find image online because if you don't have files available right away, this is helpful. So Find Image Online opens up our Pixabay integration. So what I'm going to do is just type in a keyword. Sometimes I like to do like blue background. Oops, I got to spell that correctly though. I'll type like a color and the word background, see what pops up. And then if I say, "Oh, this is kind of fun," I'm going to pick this one. And then you can see what it looks like. Come on, buddy. Here it comes. There we go. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Now, if you look at it and you go, well, it's kind of hard to read the words, or you can play with contain full image or cover complete area uh, with the widget. And if you find like, oh, this is just not working for me, you can just hit the three dot menu, and then um, you can clear it and get rid of it. But it's a fun way to, kind of jazz up and play with that design. Now, that's the limited options. Get ready. Because if you got that school license, oh, all the things you will be able to do. So, on a school license, or if your group license has the design configuration enabled. So, here we are, same widget. I go into preview. And then when I go to design, now I have all of these things. I'm just going to scroll super fast and you can see, whoa, there's a ton of stuff here. Why? Because I have a widget that has every single question type. So then I can adjust just about every single thing in here. Now you'll notice when I come up here, you'll see like title. So it'll take me over here to this title section. So this is where I can decide if I want to do a different font for the title. I love to use, just to let you know, where are you? Um, Arial. Wait, which one am I in? Hold on. Common font. In common font, I love to use, there it is, Arial rounded bold, because then I get like a nice kind of dark typeface. Sometimes I'll adjust the title and make it a bit bigger. I can do some other things with like borders. If I want to change the color and like make it all purple if I want, that there's that purple line. I also like to do this is I'll make my color, my title, the bar, and then I'll go in and I'll turn this to white. Nope, wrong one. I hit the wrong button. That's one. This one to white. There we go. Come on. There we go. So then it gives like a pretty interesting, um, you know, ability to, just kind of customize that design. If you're into branding or graphic design, it's a fun way to spice it up. And yes, so anytime you're over here and you can see like odd rows or a text description. So if you really want to customize question, so this is the other thing I like to do, like question number. If we go and make this purple, I like that because then it's kind of like gives a little bit of differentiation between the question word and the question number. If I go to question, come on, buddy. Here we go. Question. I'll just go this way. Question number and go down to question. I could make like the question, purple, but then it becomes a little bit like, a little bit different to read. I prefer to keep it like that black, darker color, but then color in the question number for a different kind of design. If you have your hex codes, so another pro tip, if you have hex codes for colors, you can use this site is a great one. Colors. Where are you? There it is. Coolers. This is a great one that if you want to get palettes, different color palettes to really, really jazz up your design, Colors is a great website to go to. It'll auto generate for you different palettes. You can upload stuff in here. It'll generate a specific palette to you, and then you can copy the hex code. I'll just grab this one because it's definitely different. Copy that one, go back to my design and paste it in. So if you really want to go crazy with your design, you totally could. And then you see now my question type is done. Okay, so you could play with all of this, make your pretty, pretty, pretty design as you so choose. Okay. Then once you have your design set, you like this design, you want to keep reusing this kind of branding. The thing you can do is come over here to the three dot menu at the top of design and hit export. This is going to save this design file with your on your local device. Then when you go to a new widget, so I'm going to go to a widget. I'm just going to pick worksheet because I know I don't have anything in this. No, sorry, let me pick that other one. Let me go pick a different one. Let me pick this one. So I'm going to go in and edit this particular widget. Let's go preview it. Okay, so I have a design here, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to design. I'm going to hit the three dots. I'm going to hit import. It's going to pull up my files and we're looking for design. It'll say design.wdf. I've downloaded design like 10 times, so I can then upload it and give it a second and boom, now it changes it. So this is one way that you can do the design for your different widget activities. And let's go back to our slides. There we go. Okay, so again, finding that image in the design will give you that corresponding design option, clicking on those little yellow boxes. And lots of options doesn't mean you have to use every single one. You want to make sure that the design never gets in the way of accessibility. Everything still needs to be readable. So, if you add a background image and you're like, ooh, I can't read the questions anymore, well, then obviously don't use that background image. Okay. So I just showed you how to create a design template. I highly recommend doing it in a worksheet so you can get all the different question types. But then the second one to try to create a design template is a web quest. And then you can use these designs and pull them in whenever. So also if you like to make your games a specific set of colors, same deal. Download the design, upload it. So we have, it's It is, tis the season. We have the 12 days of book widgets. So I was really thoughtful with my design for this. So I have, the font within here. It's all color coded. I even made some custom images, and these are my cover images for my different widgets. So when you're thinking about design and a theme, especially if you're doing kind of like a bigger collective project, then what you can do is have, that theme is carried out through all of the activities. So I have a cover image for all of mine, and you'll see like the different numbers. So each 12 days, there's X number of items to play with. And so I have this kind of repeating pattern of these cover images, and these will each take me to a different widget. And then when you go to the widget itself, I maintained some of the design. I might have varied the colors. So in this one, I'm not using the red or the green, but I have the blue, kind of like icy, but I'm still keeping the same font, which was copper plate. So I'm maintaining something consistent across the design. So as students navigate to any of the widgets, there's a sense of consistency that we see, the same font, the same colors repeated, especially if you're doing kind of more of a group thing. Those cover images in your widgets is really useful. So where are those located? If we go back to our widget editor, and I'm in a widget editor here, I'm going to go to design, and then this is where I can add my cover image. And again, I can choose a recent image. I can find an image online, upload an image, import from Google Drive, or paste from clipboard. I'll show you what choose a recent image looks like. So it pulls up all your recent images that you might have used. So I'm just going to grab this emoji, make it my cover image. And then whenever I share this widget, if I'm integrating it in a learning management system, sharing a link online, or embedding the widget inside another widget activity, then this cover image will appear. So that's a useful tip too with your design options. Let's go back to our slides. So then saying, yep, I already showed you how to do the worksheet one. So both of these, if you want to, the all question types one, feel free to grab that link, and I'll paste it in the chat for you. So you get the teacher link and then can make a copy in your account very easily. And you can play along. All right. The design stuff, like, working smarter, not harder, is definitely useful. The other thing that you can do with your widgets is, again, once you find them, you can also make new widgets from previous designs when you duplicate them. So you're making that copy, and then you're building a new widget from that. So like you have a pair matching game, and then all you need to do is swap out your different pairs. You can swap the different content that's in there, but duplicating your widgets and then reusing a design is great. So if you keep a folder in your widget editor under the Create tab, you could keep a folder of your widgets that are, your design templates, so that you always have them to duplicate them. So when it comes to adding and editing images, there's a few ways that you can add images. I showed you the Pixabay integration, but how do you put them in there as well? In questions, you can use it via the image option or via the rich text editor. So if we go to, I'll pull this over here. So the new rich text editor is wonderful. Sometimes you'll see this switch to rich text. So you got to just hit that button, and then boom, now it appears. And then to add via wherever you see the rich text editor, you can just go Insert, select Image, and then you'll get this choose a recent image, find image online, upload an image, import for Drive. So you can add that to any question. You can also add it in the rationale. This is great for those open-ended questions, by the way, where you could include an image of your like answer key, and then you could tell your students to compare their response to yours, and then you could ask another question, how did you differ, to kind of make those open-ended questions a little bit auto-scored, or at least so that you don't have to always review them. And then here, when you scroll down under the question option, you can go to image, and then you can also import an image this way. And it'll add an image in. So I'll just choose a recent image. There we go. I can decide if I want that image size big, medium, or small. If it's big, it'll let me choose where do I want the image to appear, before, after the text, between the title and the image. So if you're attaching an image via the image option, it'll give you a little bit of placement options to choose from. But if you're doing it via the rich text editor, it will appear, if I'm typing here, I'm going to insert an image, put it in. Then I can use the three-dot menu over here to edit this image. When I go to edit the image, I can choose to, crop it, only show a piece of it. I can change the resolution, which means the size, but I can also just make it automatic. And then this is where you'll find for alt text for your screen readers and accessibility. You can type in the alt text for that. Some of your other image question types will also include some additional fields here, like where you can add audio and where you can add in a caption. So let's see. And that's for accessibility. And then I can also choose justification if I want to go left or center or right, kind of move it around. Here you'll see the caption for this particular one. Just move it back over here. And then if I'm adding some more text around it, I can type in. So, I can have a little bit more control as to where I want to put this image and how do I want it sized. But either option works. Okay. So you can, again, also, I showed you that you can add that background image via design as well. Okay. All right. So that rich text editor, you might have saw, wow, there was a whole bunch of other things that you can add in there. You can definitely bold, italicize, underline, add a link, change your font size or color. You can do your justification or alignment, your lists, add in those images, video, web embed, table, or add in some audio. And then where can you switch to formatted text? So where can you find this? So in your worksheet, quiz, split worksheet, and video quiz, it'll be in your questions, your hints, in the info and instructions, and in the rationale. In your hotspot image, it'll just be in the pop-up text and the instructions. Spot the difference will be in the differences and the instructions. Flashcards will be both front and back. And in the instructions, the split whiteboard, text panel, instructions, WebQuest, you coming soon will have it in the tabs and the sections, but it is in the instructions. So you can add images wherever you want. You can customize the design for your instructions, being able to bold things, italicize, in all of these wonderful places. And that design is all about emphasis. It's about trying to direct your students to see information, to have it stand out from all the other text that's there. Same thing with colors. Being able to change colors and size is all about emphasis and being able to have things stand out. So some good tips and tricks. We're going to take a look at some different question types, using those design tools, adding some school branding, alt text and captions, some fun background images, and generating images with AI. So starting off with your annotate picture, image. You can, use cover fields within these. So if we go and take a look at, and we have so many different examples to show you. So here, this is, a background image that we've created, and then on each of the popcorn kernels, there's a different place for students to type in. So this could be, a activity like a do now or an exit ticket or a quick like vocab activity, and on every kernel they can type in a specific word and then submit. Do tops and tips. So again, thinking about design, thinking about like consistent imagery. So here we're having like a thematic, visual design. It's consistent. So like if all of my do nows or bell ringers or exit tickets look like this, that's also going to provide your students with some psychological safety that they know what to expect. They expect this routine. So using your annotate, this is an annotate image. I've created the background image. We've added the image to the question. So if we go and make a copy of my account, and I'll show you the editor. See, look how fast that was. Open up annotate picture. Here we can see the background image, and then I have the input fields. So when I go into the input field, you can see there it is. I can also change the position if I need to. So, and I can see where the other fields are already located. So annotate image doesn't just have to be the marker. So if I wanted to enable a marker, like I was doing this on a diagram, I could enable the marker. And then here, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll hit done and I'll go to preview. And then now you can see that it's typed over here. Now, wait a second. You might go, but wait, where'd the box go? Here's the design features. So when you're in here on a cover image, you can choose if you want to have this be like visible. So let's see. Field display options. I know it's not going to be in the design menu off in the corner, but if you scroll down on your annotate picture and you go to field display options, you can choose to have it have no border so that it's totally hidden. I'll pick dotted line. I'll just pick some fun colors. Just pick a blue so it's different. We can also make the box itself be transparent, semi-transparent, or solid. And then there's your cover fields. Um, they can be placed below. So for your phones and other small screens, the edit boxes are going to be placed below the image. And then we go to preview. Now you can see what it looks like. So here's that field. It's semi-transparent. And the marker, you can see all my other fields have also become visible. But if you're creating a pretty background image, then keep that input field as transparent and no lines and no border. And then if you get rid of the marker, we'll be able to play with that. So there's a lot of ways that you can slice and dice that annotate image. Okay, so that's one. When we're thinking about diagrams, so that parts of a fish, let's see, let me show you this one. This is a text drag and drop. Or no, sorry, this is input. So then you're typing in each of the spots. So it's not a text drag and drop, sorry. So this is also an annotate picture. I can drop in the items, the text drag and drop. Show you that one. This, the emoji assessment, is a text drag and drop. Okay, there we go. Okay, so say it with emojis. So my text up here in the box is all these different emojis, and then I can just drag them down. And if you're like, well, how did they do that? Oh, make a copy of my account and then text drag and drop, go into emojis. Here's all of my emojis that are on one line. Um, and then when we go to do text drag box options, there's also some options here within the design that you can specify where you want those drop boxes to be, what the border is, the background style. So when we go into that, I got to scroll down this way. Here we go. Onto position. So here we can see where the emojis, where we want them to be. Um, and then you can create these different boxes that are there. Okay. So again, another way to use images as a background image and these different question types. For this one, this is a picture drag and drop. So here we have a background image, the phases of the moon, and then we're going to grab the images up top in our picture bank, and then dropping them down into the image. Okay. And determining the drop boxes. So again, how did we do that? Make a copy of my account, open up the widget editor, drag and drop the images. So we got our directions. Here's our image, the like first quarter moon. Where does it go as the answer key? And then you can see how this is set up to drag and drop those images down. So again, making, smart choices in the background. And yes, you will have all of these widget links. When I share the recording, you'll get the slides as well. And then you will be able to make a copy in your account whenever your little heart desires. Okay, so this is also too, like fixed image size is important, so that you are making sure that your design doesn't get messed up, and that your drop boxes. So we have how-to videos for all of these things. All right, we got to move along faster. You can do a crossword question using images. So create a table with images using formatted text within your widget, and you then can refer to these images in your crossword. So when we look at a crossword, we see it look like this. Words up top, crossword box in your crossword question type. But if you're like, but wait a second, my littles are emerging readers. They can't read all those words. We're practicing. So here's what you do is you add a table to the question. This becomes kind of like your key. And then you say to students, okay, across number one is image A. Image A is A. Now you can practice our sight words and type it in. So it just gives you another way to jazz up and use those images in your other question types. I showed you annotate picture. You can also do uh, you can have drop down lists appear to students. And the way that you do this is you input a code, select, you have your answer choice is first, then you do 2 hashtags, and then your other answer choices. So here is one that looks like this. So we have a drop down here for making true false questions. And then if it's false, the students would then correct the answer and type in what the answer is. So if you're like, oh, I love this design, I bet you know what you want to do. Make a copy in your account so you can see how it is configured. Mhm. And then you can also expand. How did we have that bigger expand field? Is that we add that code. The text width is a bigger number. So we have this width equals, no spaces between these carets. And then I'll show you what the widget editor looks like with it in there. Make a copy of my account. And then here we go. So you can see this is a fill in the blanks question. We have the question itself, the select true or false, and then what the correction will be. Obviously, the correction here, we don't have a correct answer with it. So that's part's going to have to be manually scored. But otherwise, the drop down stuff is pretty useful for students. Okay. All right. So you can do that in a fill in the, anywhere there's a fill in the blanks type of entry where they're typing in an answer, you can do that drop down. And also, here's another idea for design is that if you are using a text question, it's not really a question type, obviously, but you can use the text to make a sections in your quizzes. So if you're just doing a quiz, one question at a time, you can have a text question be kind of like a header, and then your other questions. So you can create like sections. So text question will make section one, have section one's questions, then do another text question for section two. Now, might you want to do this? Then, if you create sections, you can do randomizing of those questions between those text questions. Okay. So it means that those 10 questions will be randomized within that section. And because they will be treated as a group. Now, we did make an update. So we have released that structured quiz option. So you can't yet randomize questions in a structured quiz. So right now, we're working on something that you're gonna really like. It is our number one most requested feature. It's coming, folks. It's coming. I promise. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise. It'll be a little bit of time, but we're building to that. So just keep in mind that if you do a structured quiz with the question pages, you're not going to be able to do randomization. Okay. But you can do, again, also some other design tricks with the text question, having a header, giving instructions, lesson goals, adding that additional information, and ending with impact. So really, when we think about our widget examples and every widget activity can look different and unique, when you play with those design options. So here we have a different color palette. We got some emojis in there. We're using text questions with resources and images and videos embedded in it, using the colors. And then we have our different question types, a background, a group, text drag and drop question onto a background image. So you can really go as far as you want with any of the design options to make your widgets look beautiful and to use those text questions appropriately to create those sections, create branding, etc. All right. So when we think also too about tables, design is everything with a table. You're going to use Shift and click to select multiple cells, select the full table to increase the font size, and then you can add those drop-down lists inside the cells inside of a table. So let me show you this example. We have some different question types that have been enabled, different table designs within the table question. So here we have this one that's set up for like doing math. You even get a scratch pad if you so choose. Here we have a Sudoku made with a table. So you could, make a Sudoku puzzles for your students. Here's another table question, giving students information. So these are only read only, whereas where they're typing in the answers is down here. And you can see too, the design is intentional. How do your students know what's editable or what's not? Wow, dotted line is different from the straight lines, the solid lines. So you can really use this to your advantage and to train students. With your whiteboard question, don't forget, yes, whiteboards are its own question type, but you can also use the whiteboard or split whiteboard widgets, adding a background image. And the cool thing I love with the whiteboards are you can do a background image like this and make it like a paint by number, where you have students use the tools, pick their colors. 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay, let me go find all the sevens and fine motor skills, coloring in my image. So kind of a paint by number on top of the canvas. But then you could also make it where the image becomes like a frame. So if you have the background image to be on top, let me clear my. So you can have this, you can have students like decorate sweaters and they could color on the sweater itself and even color outside the lines if they so choose. But if I show you this other example, if you place the background image on top, it will create frames. So if I'm writing to create my book cover and doodling. But look, I try to color over here. I'll change colors so you can even see difference. I'm trying to color. Nope. Everything stays behind the image. So with your different widget types here on the whiteboard, using that intentional background image, even using like kind of, again, the same color palette, same design lets your students have some psychological safety. So here you can allow students to even upload their own images, select from their files and adding an image that could be framed within here, in addition to using the tools to color. And again, if they try to color outside the frame, nope, can't do it. And also with your whiteboards, thinking about design, using digital stickers. So the stickers are great for a controlled experience. For this particular one, students are creating a comic strip. So you can give them some speech bubbles to use. They can make them bigger. They can move them around. They could spin them a little if they wanted to. And then they can, draw their characters talking and add in their text and stuff. So the digital stickers are a useful one too for thinking about design. I got some good tips and tricks for digital stickers coming on the next couple of slides. So this, when we think about how do you create these pretty images or create digital stickers, if you're not using the Pixabay to just go find it or upload what you have, you can turn to a couple of other sites. The Noun Project is a great place to go for those digital stickers. So you could use them to like identify the parts. There's so much you could do with it. You could also use some other design tools like Canva or Adobe Express to make your templates, to make your background images. So let me show you some of these examples. So here's that popcorn again, background image created with Canva or Adobe Express. Here's a whiteboard. This one adds the image, we have a table. Students are to read the text and set the scene using the stickers. And here are the stickers, these icons that have been pulled from the Noun Project. Again, they can move them around. They can make them a little bigger or smaller. Okay. Hotspot images. If you were thinking about game boards, we're going to have one of our upcoming webinars is going to be on game boards after the new year. You could have Adobe Express, you could have Canva, you could create a game board image, and then with your hotspot image, you could have students, oh, you could embed a randomness spinner to have the dice, and then on your game board, go to the thing to open up another activity, and you can create a whole cool pathway of learning with the hotspot image. Also with a worksheet. Ta-da. So we do have a partnership with Edu Protocols. We had a recent blog post come out about using these lesson frames and lesson templates. And this is also going to be an upcoming webinar in January. We're going to be showing how to do Edu Protocols with BookWidgets. So one of them is Cyber Sandwich is the protocol, and it's kind of like a Venn diagram. You have students read or view different sources. They can jot down their notes, and then they're going to work with a partner and they're going to do what's called a cyber sandwich. They're going to fill in this graphic organizer. What do I have? Talk to their partner. What does their partner have? And type in what their partner has said. You know, and then pull in the two pieces of information, two sides to create their sandwich in the middle. What do they both have? So this graphic organizer was created with Adobe Express, and then it's an annotate picture image, um, annotate picture question type that's added into this worksheet widget. And then you can see too, we have like color palette, font, etc. So I hope you'll join me for that upcoming webinar as well. Web quests. There we go. This one was an escape room I made called Escape the Poet's Study. So these are all hotspot images. So I took Adobe Express, used some of their stock footage, and then you kind of can tell that like the floor is a little bit different from the wall. Some of these items have been like layered in, weren't in the original image. So I did some layering in here to create some hotspot items for students to click on, and then it obviously looks like it's, clickable within the image in addition to my cursor turning into a finger to show that's clickable. But creating, again, thoughtful design, you can really have a go to town with it. And then I already showed you the to do, there we go. I already showed you my 12 Days of Christmas, again, with the thoughtful design of font, color palettes, cover image, um, to have that design there. All right. So using design tools to your advantage is pretty awesome. Little app smashing. So thinking about your school branding, so having a header. So if you have branding that is particular to your school, or if you're in a business or a publisher, having that header image. Here we have this header image that's on all of the widgets. So again, it has a branded feel, and you can see the color palette. We're using the green around lines, and the question numbers just makes it feel really intentional. And then thanks to Ellen here, who has shared, how to have her school's branding is on their different widgets. So, okay. So thinking about also some accessibility things within your images, having alt text and captions is really powerful. So you can use it to give credit, cite sources, or clarify the image or video content. So I'm going to open up this one. This is one of our new question types, or sorry, not question types. This is the updates from the widget where we have There we go. Start over. So I made a structured quiz. This has multiple pages to it. This is Intro to Cinematography. So I have my really intentional design. My questions are bolded. My question numbers are a different color. I've got some good drop downs within images. I have some matching. You can see some of these images have been repeated. So this is our question page. So I have a worksheet that then goes to another question page. Again, very similar layout and design. Now I have a question page that has resources. So here I have videos, and then I give, within the caption to the video, credit to the creator of that video. Oops, let's go back. You can make it clickable too if you so choose. So having those captions, here we go, can be pretty powerful. And then also, just showing you some of the different question types that are in here. Giving credit to say that it was made with AI. So I'm going to go into the editor view for this particular one so you can see how I made it. So this is a quiz, but then for the layout, I selected multiple questions per page. So on page 1, I have these particular questions. I have a text question at the top. Okay, with some information. I didn't need rich text on this, so the design took care of itself. Then I have other pages. And then I have pages that also have the resources attached to them. So if I go to show settings, you can see that I have resources attached into this. Okay. So here's the update. If you notice, we have questions, and then you say, but wait, where'd these resources come from? Over here, we have the resources tab. And then on each of these, I can create a page. So I have my information. I've embedded my videos, given the captions within them. Okay. Use the rich text to do this. And then, so it created the resource for each one. If I want to make another resource, I can add resource. I can also choose display, configure resources to show on each page, or show resources on all of the pages. So if I wanted to have a full split screen for every one, I could, because I wanted to have a collection of resources for them to do. I could do that. I could do that. So let me show you what it looks like. And let's go to preview. This is amazing. This update, I love this update. So now we can see I have my questions on one side, and then over here in the split panel, so I'll just move this over. You can see down here, kind of like how we have with the web quest, I have different tabs that will take me to the questions. And then I can still kind of go through each question page. So you can really go crazy with these structures for these quizzes. Like you want to have it where they have access to a whole stack of resources for every question type, every question page, you can. So this update's pretty cool. I'm so excited to build all the things with this one. So this particular widget also, by the way, came from the most recent blog post this week. So as you're getting ready for winter break and you go, oh, I need, my lesson plans are getting a little thin. I might need to watch some movies. I got you. I have a whole bunch of different activities that are related to film and film study that you can use with any film. So, winter and some movie recommendations. So, that latest blog post is a good one. Okay. Accessibility is also important. So, and I'll show you this one. So, this is a pair matching, and it's all auditory. And this is for your, littles. They're emerging readers. They're learning, reinforcing good bathroom rules. So, they listen to the instructions. And then if you notice, we have the icon here.
Using soap dispenser.
Hopefully that came through Zoom. But when I go into the editor view of this, that on the pair side, I've done images and images. Okay. So we see the two images here are my pair matching. When I go into edit image, we will see the alt text. And then the screen reader is going to automatically pull that alt text and then we'll say that out loud. I can also optionally add in my own audio. So if I wanted to record my own voice and not use the screen reader from your browser, because which is also good for your students to hear your own voice, you can record right within BookWidgets. You can upload boy throwing out trash. Boy throwing out trash. Keep it, and then we'll go pop back to let that upload real quick. Okay, we're going to say done. And we're going to go to preview. I say, okay, where's my boy who is throwing out the trash? You can see my own audio is down here in the white. Boy throwing out trash. Hopefully that came through on the Zoom. And then the screen reader throwing out trash is the top, this kind of gray one. If I get rid of the alt text and just keep my audio, that will also, I think it will just only show the one icon. Okay. But using the edit image is important. Having that alt text for accessibility or the audio for accessibility is really powerful, especially for your emerging readers. And then we got a whole collection of fun background images. So we have a blog post here, and thanks to Maud Moores, who created for us 10 different cover images. So if you want to use these as background or cover images, you totally can do so. And then last interesting thing here is about using AI. So you could generate images with AI, of course. We give you some different prompts here. So, if you're using Copilot or any of your other AI tools, you can have them, you copy paste this prompt, and then to see it in BookWidgets, here we have kind of, again, like an exit ticket that serves as the background image, and then students can type in their answers on this kind of graphic organizer. So it's a cool way to use your images for like exit tickets and stuff. Another one is having AI generate your schematic, like diagrams or biology diagrams, and then specifying like not illustrative, not photos, use it as illustrative. And then this can be your background image on an annotate picture where they can type in the words of what it is. So if you're not an artistic person or you need, AI can certainly help you out. Even, I love the jigsaw puzzle. So being able to, have images that are on a theme. Here's another one. And then being able to use it in a game. I love the jigsaw puzzle widget. I even use it with my older students that if I want to do notes with them, I'll kind of do a live lecture where they have to uh, solve my jigsaw puzzle, which will reveal the notes I want them to write down. And then I also have a reward word, which is really an audio message of me explaining the notes a little bit more that they would then write down in their notebooks. So kind of gamifying note taking there of that idea. And then the other thing too is if you're thinking about like game boards and doing that, you can have them create your AI tool create an illustration of a map of an imaginative world and then turn it into a game board, your hotspot widget, where then they can click on each one of these, hotspots, and then it would take them to the activity to go do. So lots you can do with design. You don't have to always be the designer. Um, you can be using the tools to help you out. So some additional handy links and resources. Always, if you have feature requests or any questions or comments, you can always email us at support@bookwidgets.com. We've got plenty of webinars that are now live. So we got a great uh, menu of webinars that are coming soon. So go ahead and register for those for the new year. We also have our tutorials, our knowledge base, and again, the Book Widgets blog. And every widget we ever make for the Book Widgets blog is in the Book Widgets blog group. So all the things, there's so much. This is a treasure trove. If you have not gone into the Book Widgets blog group, you definitely need to do it. We have all of these different folders of every activity we've ever made for webinars and blog articles. You can filter by topic and then see all the widgets that are available there. And then when you find something that you like, what are you going to do? You're going to duplicate it. Come on, buddy, drop down menu. Well, disappeared on me. Duplicate it and save it to your account. And then you can see how it's configured. Yep, there we go. So that duplication to see how it's configured is really powerful. And I want to thank everybody for joining me today for this session on jazzing up your widgets. I'm going to pause the recording and we'll do some Q&A. So thank you again for joining me. And I'm going to give you also the link to the session evaluation.